Have you ever wondered what it was like in the Orioles replay room? Well, Mark Viviano visited the replay room, and let's take a look at what he saw.
In January of 2014, the 30 clubs of Major League Baseball unanimously approved the expansion of instant replay. When the historic announcement was made, Adam Gladstone made sure his name was at the top of the list to become the first ever Orioles replay coordinator.
I followed what Major League Baseball was going to be doing with instant replay, and when we heard that Major League Baseball had approved instant replay for 2014, I used some of the relationships I had established in the game to put my name in front of Buck, and I talked with Dan Duquette, I talked with Tripp Norton, had the opportunity to talk with Buck and just said, hey, as you go through this process, I'd like to be considered.
We felt like we'd get an advantage getting someone that had an umpire's background. And I know a lot of clubs were hiring ex-players and whatever. I wanted somebody that could emotionally detach them from decisions, and because we all want every replay to go the Orioles' way, and while he's pulling for the Orioles and he's an Oriole fan, he understands from his umpiring background that you've got to detach yourself from things emotionally.
Has a lot of experience looking at these things. As an umpire, I think he's got a calm sense about him. That he's not a knee-jerker. A lot of times you get people that look at things. The fan takes over.
The Pikesville native and Boys Latin alum is a two-time graduate of the Jim Evans Umpire School, which allowed him to spend 4 seasons as an umpire in the Independent League.
Being an umpire on the field was very helpful. Being in the front office and running teams in the Atlantic League and understanding the psyche of the player and trying to understand the manager and the coaching staff, I think is helpful in this situation, because I think in anything you do, certainly at the major league level, it's day in and day out.
We feel pretty good about what we thought was going to happen and is happening. So Adam helped us be ahead of the curve a little bit, I think, and especially his relationship with the umpires around the league. He knows about all of them, and he got a lot of feedback, and he knows the people in the New York office that run it, and he gets a lot of feedback from them so we could get ahead of potential problems.
Because there's never been a replay coordinator, Adam had nothing to compare his performance to. So when the Orioles didn't challenge a play in the first 15 games of the season, he began to get nervous.
I'll tell you, the first couple weeks, there's no question my heart rate was going a mile a minute. But I think when you do it so often, you know what you're looking for and you feel a comfort level. And the thing is, in this process, you never know when it's going to happen.
We just want to get it right, and I think for the most part this year, we've got it right. There's going to be some calls that you really think you should get that unfortunately you still don't get. But, for the most part, we feel like we got a good system in place.
Having that background, having to make tough decisions at home and away, it was something that we were looking for with Adam. And, he's been as advertised and what the doctor ordered.
When you see Buck talking to the umpires after a questionable call, he's just buying time for bench coach John Russell to go review the replay with Gladstone.
It's such a luxury to have John Russell, the bench coach. And JR, it's funny, very early on I learned what his footsteps sounded like, because he'll come in here, and we've been pretty good in that as soon as that play is in question, I'm able to get it up here, and then here we can take a look at it together, and then I'm explaining to JR, hey, listen, this is what I have, and then he then takes that out to the dugout, and then he gives Buck a signal saying, hey, look, this call was right, this call was wrong, or there's a chance this call could go either way.
We're fortunate here in Baltimore that the video room's right there, and that we can do some things together and look at it together and form our opinions.
We're very lucky in that Masson is obviously a great partner in this process. So we have a live program feed, and we have a monitor here that shows real-time the game going on. And everybody in baseball has that ability as well if they implement it into the Hawkeye system. So what happens is I'm watching the live program feed, and then once that play occurs, every angle that we have, and we have up to 15 camera angles, are up on these 2 monitors. And then what we then do is once that play occurs, I shift over, and within 1 or 2 seconds, I'm able to pick up exactly the questionable part of the play. I can stop it, and then I can reverse it or fast forward it to get a better look.
We try to make it a timely fashion. We don't want to wait too long because you want to to speed it up a little bit. You don't want to, especially if we're on defense, we don't want our starting pitcher or pitcher out there standing around forever. So we try to do it in a timely fashion, but we want to make sure we're right, or want to make sure that the call would stand and not challenge it.
Through the first half of the 2014 season, the Orioles challenged 16 calls. 8 were overturned, 8 were upheld.
The tweener ones that they don't overturn that we think they should, that's unsettling. And if you're paranoid, you take it very personal. And if there's anything to do with the Orioles' well-being, I do take it personal.
We're trying to get the calls right, and that's what this resource was put in place for. Get the calls right. So as long as I can come up with a good explanation to John Russell and to Buck to say, hey, this is why the call was made, they're wrong, or this is why the call was made and they're right, both of those are an advantage to us.
No announcement was made about Gladstone's hiring. He may not even have an official title with the club, but he is one of the most important additions to the Orioles staff.
He's been good. He cares about doing a good job, and that's a big thing. I see the look of satisfaction in his face when we won a game and maybe we had something overturned. It was a tough call.
I'm proud of the fact that with this evolving process, we've had the ability to get through a half a season, and I think it's something that, look, it's new to everybody in the game. It's evolving. It's something that Buck and John Russell and I continue to work at hard, and we continue to fine-tune it, and we really truly think it's an asset. I mean, it's helped us, I'm not going to say it's helped us win some games, but it's helped us to better understand why calls are made.
I wouldn't say it's a thankless job, but it's one that's kind of in the background. I'm glad you're bringing him out.
I've always been an Oriole fan, even though I've been involved with professional baseball for 15 to 18 years. But every time I get a chance to go to the ballpark, and then I realize it's Camden Yards, and I realize what I'm doing for a very small amount of time, I'm ecstatic. And then I compress all that because I know I got a job to do.